some mistakes and you whipped yourself all day over it. You ever had some of those days? Oh, I can't believe it. It's so stupid. Then you have a filer in the back of your brain. Every time you call yourself a name, he goes back to check the evidence. You don't get just a minute, stupid file. Oh, you are. Early on, you were just emerging stupid, but Tyler, you're taking it to an entirely new level right now. We're going to put it near the front so that when you want to feel bad, you can just look at that. You've lost sleep over the bad ones. What do you say to yourself when you do something right? I was lucky. They could have done it better. Even when you do feel good, how long does it last? Very short. Very seldom do you lay awake at night like, what a day. What a day, what a day. Am I good or am I good? What I want you to be aware of, your real challenge in life is to learn every time you make a mistake. What can I do to fix it? What can I do to learn from it? And then get back in the game. The only game that counts is what's out the front window. And once you do that, you learn to take responsibility. You aren't stuck in the past. Anybody who's stuck in the past, you're letting the future go by. Live your dream, that possible dream we're going to be talking about all week. Catch yourself being effective daily and maybe winning and not know it if you're not keeping score. Best manager I ever reported to, Stanford Linear Accelerator, Palo Alto, California. I was 17 years old, first big job. I helped build a mile-long electron microscope they have at Stanford. My title was a lab technician. That was my title. I drove a truck. I don't know why they called me a lab technician, but now I'm sure it was for funding purposes. But he had on his wall this statement: every person I work with knows something better than I. My job is to listen long enough to find it and use it. Every single week he took a 15-minute walk with every one of the people who reported to him. My day was Friday. I'd never worked for a manager. I didn't know what they did. He came to me and he said, Terry, every week I take a walk with each one of my people, and your day's going to be Friday. I went, all right. I didn't know what they did. Now that I find out, they walk with people. I'm walking with this guy, and he said, Terry, you've been here a week. What's working for you? And I remember looking at him. That isn't a question you ask teenagers. Would you agree? The questions they ask you is, how's it going in school? Isn't that a common question? How's it going in school? Huh? Going well? Good, good. Why do they want that till you leave? They say. They want you to be successful. They'll ask you, how's it going in sports? Isn't that another comment? How's it going in sports? You're playing well. Why do they want that? Because you'll get a scholarship and I want to pay to have you leave. This will be good. Final question is, are you on drugs? Those are the big three. For teenagers. And he asked me, what's working for you? I remember looking at him like, I don't know. I'm glad we were walking. I said, the guys taught me how to load the truck. I know we have sensitive equipment, so I've got to be careful. And he looked at me and I was stupid. And he said, Terry, I'm glad you're learning from the guys. That's an important lesson. But when I first hired you, I knew there was something special about you, and I expect to learn something from you this summer. And I'm going to ask you that question every week. I didn't know a lot about life, but I knew a lot about school. I was good at school. I knew you learn how a teacher does a test. How many agree? That's what school is. You learn how the tests are constructed for each teacher, and then you play the game and learn what you got to do to get well over the test, and you go on to the next class. And I was good at that. And he told me what was on the test, but it was never anything he said. I had to come up with something new every week. This bothered me. What was my best day? Thursdays, because my walk was Friday. And if I had nothing that worked by Thursday, I had a mission. Something's got to work today. He's going to ask that stupid question tomorrow. Every week I had something to share. Twice that summer, he said, Terry, I love that idea. Would you mind if we brought it up during the staff time? I was proud. I was 17 years old. The rest of them were older. And I remember going, oh, this is cool. Then I got into the meeting the first time, and he said, Terry came up with something the other day. In fact, he did such a good job of explaining it to me. And I remember looking at him like, no. Because I was the youngest one on the team. I was 17. The rest of them were old, 30, 31. And I just remember looking at him like, no, I don't want to share it. And he said, go ahead, share it. He helped make me. Twice that summer, they made changes as a result of my input because he believed that I could do something significant before I believed in myself. He walked me in the car at the end of the summer and he said, I want you to know something, Terry. I told you you were going to make a difference here this summer, and you did. And I also want you to know, I don't think you're going to need this job, but if you ever need this job, you come back here, I'd hire you in a minute. How many of you have people who believed in you before you believed in yourself? Think of some people who really, when you're struggling with it, they were there for you. I will never forget that man. I'll tell you at the end, my chance at seeing them later in life. Ask this week what's working for you. We spend too much time talking about problems, not enough time talking about what are we doing that's working. First time you ask that question, they'll say, oh my God, you've been to a seminar and you're acting bizarre. But when you live with it, you start to realize every person you meet is learning things that you can learn from.